Hello and welcome back to the Think Rugby podcast. Just me this week. As you can tell, I am full of the cold, but that just shows my commitment to this podcast, unlike Zav, who is currently in a different continent eating animals. Yeah, don't ask me why. But no, in this episode today, you're going to hear me die a death and put this podcast on my death certificate. But yeah, today we'll be going through the last 16 of the Champions Cup, primarily focusing on Glasgow and Edinburgh. And then we're going to be having a quick look at the quarter-final predictions that I have made. And then I'm going to be talking about some transfer news. In terms of the Champions Cup, I only watched the Glasgow Bulls game and then the Leinster-Edinburgh game. Now, I also watched the last 20 or so minutes of the Connacht game, albeit that's a Champions Cup, so it's a different competition. But we'll stick with Glasgow for now. They won 25-21 at home in an absolute dogfight against the Bulls. Horrendous conditions, wind, rain. I feel cold just thinking about it. 4 tries to 2. Yeah, Stafford McDowell was exceptional. What else is there to be said? And Glasgow seemed very assured of themselves throughout the game. Whenever they got a penalty, I think there was at least 2 times they went to the corner to get a line out and try from the line out. So obviously going for 5 or 7 points rather than a simple 3, which is a bit questionable in knockout rugby, because you see in the Bulls, obviously with Andre Pollard, obviously he was just right, penalty, boom, 21 points from 2 tries, quite a good return. So the Bulls were very much going for the points as a knockout game. You get no bonus points from getting 4 tries or whatever. It could be just more fashionable. It's like, in this day and age of playing rugby, you're probably more expected to win the game scoring tries rather than going for the 3 points from penalty kicks. Obviously, if it's a tight 50-50 game, then yeah, a drop goal, penalty kick will obviously do the job. But yeah, you never know. Glasgow could be a part of this kind of thinking that is, no, we need to score more tries to beat the other team. So yeah, I have to say some players, as I said, Stafford McDowell was exceptional. I thought Horn, he was brilliant up until he went off injured. I'm still waiting to hear more about that injury, but yeah, that doesn't put me in good stead for Glasgow. They are going to be losing a seriously good goal kicker with George Horn. Hastings is an okay goal kicker. I prefer George Horn because George Horn's just that, the numbers don't lie. He's a better goal kicker. And the only other problem I have with Adam Hastings is the fact that you've also got Dan Lancaster. Hastings is a better goal kicker than Dan Lancaster. That's plain and obvious for everybody to see. However, Dan Lancaster, I feel, can control a game a bit better at 10. Yeah, we'll see what happens. The other big question is going to be, will Stafford McDowell be dropped for Hugh Jones to return? Because Hugh Jones was not injured, he was dropped for poor form. Stafford McDowell came in and grabbed his opportunity with both hands. No, I can't. Stafford McDowell, I think, will be starting this next game. Yeah, what else can you say? He scored a try and he was exceptional throughout. And if ever there was a performance that summed up Glasgow under Franco Smith, it was this very game. So from winning that game, they are at home this weekend at 3 o'clock on Saturday to play Toulon. I will come back to the prediction later. Moving on then, on the Sunday, I expected Edinburgh to lose to Leinster, but I didn't just quite fathom the way in which they were going to lose. So in previous videos, myself and Zav have went into the whole how bad Edinburgh have been and how, certainly on their league form, it's been 4 games they've won, 3 at home, 1 away. Pretty fucking dismal. And I think as much as Sean Everett getting a contract extension is 100% the wrong decision made by the SRU, I'm not going to go into that today. I think it's fair to say that a lot of people, myself included, have completely disregarded Edinburgh's European form. They've been far better in Europe than what they have been domestically. And although I'm not saying that it's right or the decision by the SRU was justified, it shows a little bit of, a little glimmer of hope for Edinburgh for next season. So at the Aviva, I was thinking, oh no, Leinster scored 2 tries in the opening 10 minutes, and I just thought, no. Then Charlie Shield bagged a try out of nothing. Edinburgh got the game back level. Into the second half, Darcy Graham scored a world-class try, showing just how good he is when he, can. That's just a typical Darcy Graham try, to be honest. That Darcy Graham try momentarily gave Edinburgh the lead in that game. So that shouldn't be understated either. At the 62nd minute in that game, it was 35-31 to Leinster. Full time was 49-31. So, yeah, same old with Edinburgh. And to be honest, Leinster as well. If Leinster are really such a team that score a lot of points, a lot of tries in the last quarter, and you can never really write them off. And that was why, although I did enjoy that Darcy Graham try, I knew that Leinster were also going to be coming back into the game. Yeah, that's what they did. I have to say, Edinburgh, their European form does not totally absolve them of their issues elsewhere. I'm going to be really interested to see who they get in as assistant coaches for next year, because I think if in the first, say, 6 games, if Edinburgh were to lose every single one, I think Sean Everett would be under genuine bouts of pressure. Yeah, who knows? Greg Laidlaw is back in the Scotland setup, so fingers crossed he can get a bit of time with Edinburgh and get them to click a bit of form. He might also tell the SRU to bring back Hamish Watson. Hamish Watson would have been ideal for that game in Dublin, but yeah. As for Leinster, I have to be honest, yeah, they were streets ahead of Edinburgh, despite what the scoreline may say, but they just have not been the same team since Johnny Sexton retired. Prendergast is obviously not the same player as what Johnny Sexton was. Sam Prendergast is obviously going through a difficult bit of form. They're juggling the 10 jersey a wee bit at the moment. Leo Cullen, I thought, was very good in his handling of the situation. Yeah, ironically, Leo Cullen, I would have said, is under more pressure after this game than what Sean Everett was with Edinburgh. If Leinster don't win Europe this season, I'll be very surprised if Leo Cullen isn't removed as head coach. I know there's a lot of different factors for the reasons, but there's not been the same amount of crowd, like from Leinster's perspective, at the Aviva Stadium compared to, say, 2 years ago. Even last year, it's just a bit of a flatness. I think that, Leinster are muddling along, just about doing enough rather than being this juggernaut powerhouse that we saw a couple of years ago. Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see. But yeah. So, on to the next round. Friday night at 8 p.m, Bath at home against Northampton. Very interesting game this. 3 of the English sides left in the competition, one of which will definitely be going after Friday night. It's very difficult to separate these teams. They're very close together. The Bath started really slowly against Saracens. Obviously, they were losing 10-0 at the break, and I don't think Finn Russell would have had his best game in a Bath jersey. I think that's just fair enough to say. But equally, I would also back Bath with the grunt that they have up front. And then you think half-back, and then their centres, Ajomu and Ollie Lawrence. The depth that they've got as well in the back 3, I automatically think of Carreras. Plus they're at home, and that's the other huge thing I would say in this competition this year, is the home team. It's such an advantage to be at home. I'm going to go Bath by 5. Glasgow versus Toulon. Yeah, Glasgow are just high up in the stratosphere at the moment. Toulon, by no means an easy game, but the draw could have been far worse for Glasgow. I'm going to say Glasgow by 3. I hope, anyway. Leinster against Sale. Sale, I don't just quite know what to make of Sale. I mean, I look at the Leinster versus Sale. Like, I look at that fixture and I think, right, who's at home? Leinster, advantage Leinster. But then I think, against Edinburgh, Leinster attacking, exceptional. Defensively, there are a few frailties there. I think Josh van de Fleer, whilst he is a remarkable talent, not nearly the same player he was even 2 years ago. I've been minded to say, yeah, he did go on the Lions tour, but Yeah, he's not the same player as what he was. I think the frustrating thing for me with Van der Fleer is how inconsistent he is, because I think everybody knows on his day when he is on it, what a player, like one of the best sevens in the world. But equally though, he's also being overshone by Doris and Conan, who are both in their own right exceptional players, and I would love to have them playing for my team. Leinster are going to win by 3, but it's going to be very interesting to see how the two fly halves for both whoever Leinster pick are going to go with. I think Leinster are going to win by 3, and that game kicks off at 5:30 on Saturday. Bordeaux at home against Toulouse, Sunday, 4 p.m. Toulouse have got the best player in the world. Bordeaux have got Biel Biarré. It's very, very difficult to pick between these two. I'm going to stick my guns. I'm going to go 4 home teams out of 4 to win in this round. Bordeaux by 10. Yeah, I could be wrong with that, but yeah, we'll see. So that is my predictions for the quarterfinals. The games will be played this weekend. But before we wrap up, and before I give up as well, bit transfer news. So it's came out today that Johnny Matthews is officially going to be leaving Glasgow at the end of the season. He's going to be joining the Exodus that has got Hugh Jones, Adam Hastings, Jack Dempsey, and Jamie Batty in the summer. Yeah, a great servant for Glasgow. They're ironically as a hooker, one of the best ever try scorers as well. Yeah, he's just been kept out the team by Hiddleston and Stephen, and that's testament to how good Hiddleston and Stephen are, that they are keeping Johnny Matthews out. So yeah, I'm going to be sad to see Johnny Matthews go. Him scoring that try for Scotland in the 2023 World Cup I personally really enjoyed that. But now, sentimentality's out of the way as we wrap up with the news that Courtney Lawes has announced his return to the English Prem by signing a 1-year deal with Sale. Honestly, when I seen he was like 37 and he's signing a deal to play 1 more year with Sale, I'm like, wow. So he's officially out of England retirement. So although he has said, no, I'm not going to be automatically in the mix or whatever, even to get into the squad. I mean, I sat down and I thought about it. I was like, right, second row for England. I'm immediately thinking Itoje, Chesham, and Coles. And I'm like, none of them are as good as Courtney Lawes in his day. Is Courtney Lawes the same player now as what he was when he left Northampton? Who knows? I don't much Brody do. I don't know. I think he'd definitely be a great player to have around the England setup. You'd imagine he'd be well looked after by Sale, and this time next year it's going to be the end of the 2026 season. But thank you guys for watching and listening. I hope you've been able to persevere with my voice and how full of the cold I am, but as I say, the show must go on. Be sure to let me know what you think of my predictions down in the comments. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Follow me on X, as I do put my opinion on there as well quite a lot of the time, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta.